Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, everybody. How is it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Happy Monday. Happy brand new start to the week. You guys know how much I love my Mondays. It is the best day of the week. I know that is a not a very popular opinion, but it's my opinion. So happy Monday, happy favorite Alyssa Jo day. I am super excited to be back, to be sharing more feel-good, positive news with you guys. Throw away all those dreading negative headlines, and let's just focus on all of the good things that are going on in our world right now, because there are still so many good things going on. I will have a positive story about the pandemic. I'm going to have some new studies, some feel-good, heart-wrenching stories for you today. I got a good episode for you guys, so I'm really excited to share all these with you, so I'm going to jump right into it. And with that being said, I cannot believe that it is already October. I can't believe we're in fall. Fall is like the best time of the year. Actually, I'm a winter girl. I'm a Canadian. I love my snow and my winters, but fall's great as well. So, with that being said, since fall is so beautiful, everyone's always going for walks and doing all these different things, right? To look at the beautiful colors and see all these different sights. And there has now been, that it just came out, it's an interactive United States map where you can actually check where the best fall colors are, like in your area. Isn't that cool? So, of course, across the Northern Hemisphere, leaves are currently turning from, that deep summer green to the beautiful shades of red and orange and yellow and gold. I just love fall so much. So now you can find out exactly where it's the most beautiful in your area. If you go to SmokyMountains.com, they have this publicly accessible data now. It's such as like National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, precipitation forecast, temperature forecast, average daylight exposure. That all gets collated and synthesized in order to create this map, and it changes color according to where the most colorful scenes might be seen across the United States. How cool is that? So David Angotti, he's the co-founder of the map, and he noted that its predictions aren't quite perfect. It might show amazing fall colors happen in the middle of Arizona, but if there are no deciduous trees in that area, of course, there won't be too many colors to show, right? So he just says, I wish I could make fall happen in South Florida or in the desert, but at the end of the day, the math is basically showing when the temperature and precipitation trends would cause peak fall to occur in each of these areas. So it's pretty cool, right? So if you actually want to find out some more information, according to SmokyMountains.com, they have a bunch of information about fall, but they say as the fall days begin to get shorter and shorter, the production of chlorophyll slows to a halt, eventually giving away to that true color of the leaf. So that's why leaves change colors, which is pretty cool. And then when it gets cold, the trees then slowly close off the veins that carry water and nutrients to and from the leaves. And it's with a new layer of cells that form at the base of the leaf stem, protecting the limbs and body of the tree. So once the process of new cell creation is complete, water and nutrients no longer flow to and from the leaf, and then this enables the leaf to die and weaken at the stem, and then eventually falling gracefully to the ground. So there you have it. That's why leaves change color. And now you can go check out this map at SmokyMountains.com and see where the most beautiful scenery in your area will be. Thought that was pretty cool. Now I have to share this cool study that just came out. It is official, okay? This is definitely a popular opinion. But study finds that watching cute animals is good for your health. So it's not just that feel good, makes you happy looking at cute animals. It is genuinely good for your health. So they're saying that seeing adorable animals actually helps to reduce stress levels in humans. This was done from some researchers at England's University of Leeds. They say that as we don't need to see adorable critters in real life for them to have an impact on our sense of well-being, you can look at these little critters, adorable creatures online, and still get that like boost of wellness. So they partnered with Tourism Western Australia, and the University of Leeds explored the psychological and physiological impact of cute animals on students and staff at the college. So according to this statement, there was 19 participants. They were asked to watch a 30-minute slideshow that included images and short video clips of a range of different animals. 15 of the 19 participants were due to take an exam 90 minutes after watching the slideshow, and then the remaining 4 participants were academic support staff who had declared they were feeling stressed at work. So the heart rates for every single participant dropped after viewing images and videos of cute animals for just 30 minutes. And the average blood pressure across all participants also dropped from about 136 of 88 to 115 of 71. So that's moving the group average to within the ideal blood pressure range. And participants who watched the half-hour slideshow also had to answer 20 questions so that the researchers could assess their stress levels. And it's under this state trait anxiety inventory. So in individual cases, anxiety levels dropped by almost 50%, proving that cute animals can be a powerful stress reliever and a mood enhancer. And across all measures, there was a drop in anxiety and stress as a result of watching this very short slideshow. So they're saying, okay, is it best to look at this stuff online? Is it best to see cute animals in person? What's really going to help you the most? And Dr. Andrea Utley, who led this study, she says, it would appear that images appeal, but video clips are more meaningful, and I would therefore expect that physical closeness with animals would be even better. So if you can't get up close and personal to a cute animal, then go onto YouTube and type in some cute animals and watch some video clips to boost your mood. So they will be diving even further into this study and finding out more information. But with all that being said, go online, go onto YouTube, type in some cute animals, and boost your Monday mood. If this episode doesn't do it for you, I am encouraging you to go watch cute animals to uplift your Monday if I am not uplifting enough for you. Okay, well, it is time for a little bit of a break. Maybe during this break you want to go look at some cute animals, go grab your dog, give him a hug, get a little mood boost in ya. But when I get back, I have so many feel-good stories to share with you. I have a really, really cool one about the first city who has now built an electric road that charges public transportation. It is the first in the world ever. So I have that story to share with you. I have a really cute, heart-wrenching story about a teen McDonald's employee who paid for a family's meal, and what the mom did afterwards for him is just absolutely incredible. I have a story about how some college students invented this device that curbs microplastics emitted from tires, and they won a Dyson Award for it. So positive things about the environment coming up, positive feel-good, heart-wrenching stories, new studies, lots of fun things coming for you. So do not go anywhere. I will be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast. Okay, I am back sharing more feel-good, positive stories with you, so I will jump right back into it. So, of course, as always, I want to share one positive thing about the pandemic. So, there was a survey that was just put out, and it says that nearly 6 in 10 Americans have a new appreciation of nature, all thanks to quarantine. So there was 2,000 Americans, and they were asked about keeping their moods up in light of the social distancing measures. And 58% of the respondents shared that they didn't appreciate nature as much as they should have before the COVID-19 pandemic. And they say that the survey showed 3/4 of respondents are starting to feel a boost in their moods thanks to spending more time outdoors. And 66% said that they're doing more outdoor activities close to home. And 6 in 10 shared that they've been able to finally take the time to explore their local communities with local parks, trails, and lakes. And just over half of the respondents have also gone fishing during their time in quarantine, and 27% have specifically done so to boost their mental health, and that this activity can be done while adhering to social distancing guidelines. So it's been awesome for people to do that. And 1/4 of those who got out with a rod also said a perk of the activity is the bond they can share with their loved ones. And nearly 4 in 10 respondents have actually become more physically active during their time in quarantine, and 32% of the respondents are participating in more outdoor activities than ever. So there you have it, a positive story about the pandemic. People are getting more outside. There was a list here of what people are mostly doing outside during quarantine. So it's fishing, camping, going to the beach, going to the lake, outdoor cycling, running, going to a river, boating, flying a kite, hiking, gardening, bird watching, outdoor rock climbing, and kayaking. Those are the top 14 activities that Americans have been doing during quarantine. Now, this next story I want to share with you is such a heart-wrenching story. It's so cool. It's about a teen boy who paid for a family's meal when the mom forgot her wallet. And what she did for him was just absolutely amazing. So basically what happened, she pulled up to the window to purchase a meal for her children, and she realized that she left her purse at home. But this teenage server at their window didn't want to send her away and says, I'd be happy to pay for your meal. His name is Wyatt Jones. So Brittany Reed is the mother of this story, and Brittany says that she was more than grateful. It had already been a long day at soccer practice with her 4- and 7-year-old. And later that night, Brittany drove back to McDonald's to give Wyatt his money back. But they insisted that the meal was on him and that it was completely fine. So she went to Facebook and she says, I just want his parents to know how kind and compassionate your son was tonight. He made this stressed out mama pause for a moment and realize this is exactly what we parents are trying to do, raise great humans. She says, Wyatt, do not let this world change your kind heart, young man, for it's people like you that will change the world for the better. So, not just that Facebook post, but then she started a GoFundMe campaign on his behalf. And as of October 1st, so just a couple days ago here, she raised nearly $32,000 for him. Isn't that amazing? Just because he wanted to pay for their McDonald's meal. It was just a random act of kindness that he just paid for their meal. And now he got $32,000 $1,000 raised up for him. Kindness goes such a long way, people. Seriously. My next story that I want to share with you is about some college students who invented a device that curbs microplastics emitted from tires, and they actually won a Dyson Award for this invention. So microplastics emitted from vehicle tires as they wear down is a growing pollution problem. So tire particles are the second largest microplastic pollutant in our oceans. I had no idea. But 4 students have now come up with a solution to this issue. And then they were recognized as a national winner in the James Dyson Awards. So every time a vehicle brakes, accelerates, or turns a corner, the tires wear down and tiny particles become airborne. So that's producing 500,000 tons of tire particles annually in Europe alone. So, according to this statement from Imperial College London, these students who founded the Tire Collection, they study innovation, design, engineering in a course that offered jointly with Royal College of Art. And the team's winning device is fitted to the wheel of the vehicle, and it uses electrostatics to collect charged particles as they fly over the tire. So based on results from what their testing that they did, the group believes that their prototype can collect about 60% of all airborne particles from tires. And then once collected, the fragments can be reused in new tires or even in other materials, like such as ink and things like that. So this team of amazing college students, there's 4 of them, Siobhan Anderson, Hanson Chain, Deepak Malla, and Hugo Richardson. And Hugo Richardson says, as a team, our strength lies on our diversity. We come from all 4 corners of the globe and bring with us a wealth of knowledge in mechanical engineering, product design, architecture, and biomechanics. So there are, a lot more electric vehicles being produced, and that will definitely help reduce exhaust emissions, but the tire dust will continue to contribute to air pollution. So with this wide-scale adoption of the Tire Collective's patent-pending technology, this problem can be much reduced for our environment. So there you have it, a pretty cool invention from 4 college students. Now, speaking of a cool invention, I mentioned before the break about a story about a city who has become the first city with electric road that charges public transportation. So it's a city in Israel called Tel Aviv. And the construction of this electric road will make Tel Aviv the first city worldwide to institute the large-scale rollout of a technology that can literally charge vehicles as they drive. So, the Tel Aviv municipality, that's in partnership with Electra-Rion and Dan Bus Company, they just launched a pilot to install wireless electric roads for charging public transportation in the city. And the project will be carried out between Tel Aviv University Railway Station and Klaxon terminal, and it's a 2-kilometer route including 600 meters of electric road, and the project will enable specially equipped electric buses that are capable of being charged directly from under-road electric infrastructures to travel on the route. So cool. So this actually means that the buses won't need expensive, heavy batteries anymore. They won't need to go to charging or gas stations. And when traveling along the necessary infrastructure, they actually have unlimited journey times, which is pretty cool. So following the completion of the test and the integration of this technology, the Dan Bus Company electric bus will commence their regular journeys on the route and serving passengers that are traveling to Tel Aviv University. And then from there, the city will evaluate the possibility of additional electric transportation, so including distribution trucks and private automobile vehicles as well. And the execution of the pilot project forms a part of a wider municipal policy that attaches great importance to electric vehicles and reducing air pollution in our cities. And these electric roads will also aid municipal efforts to reduce noise pollution in order to improve quality of life for residents and visitors to the city as well. So the mayor for transportation at Tel Aviv municipality says, "We have no doubt that if the wide-scale experiment is successful, it will not only benefit the public, but also save resources, improve the operational efficiency of public transportation, and maybe even a new world-class method of electrification will lament from Tel Aviv Yafo." Pretty cool invention. I'm like shocked with this. As soon as I read this article, I was like, this is so cool. We need this everywhere. Okay, it is time for another break, but when we get back, I'm going to round off today's episode with another heart-wrenching story about a homeless woman who was sleeping in the Kroger parking lot, and they decided to give her a job. It's a really cool story coming up. I also got another story about the fashion industry and how there is this non-profit organization that is helping to solve the fashion industry waste problem. So lots of exciting things are coming. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the last stretch of America's Still Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Jo. I'm going to share as many more feel-good, positive stories with you as I can into our time frame here. So, with that being said, I want to share this such a heart-wrenching story about this lady. Her name is Lashenda Williams, and she was living in her car and wondering where her next meal was going to be coming from. She was raised in the foster care system, and Lashenda never really had a stable home life. So she says, "I spent my life moving from foster care to foster care, dealing with child abuse and things like that. In the end, nobody wanted me, and I stayed in the system until my senior year of high school." And then in addition to the abuse she suffered in foster care, she was actually hampered by a learning disability that made finding jobs even more difficult, but she never stopped trying. So whether it was luck or fate that led her to the parking lot of this Kroger grocery store in East Nashville, Tennessee, but her life was about to change for the better. So by day, she just became a store regular, striking up conversations and making friends, even when she couldn't afford to buy any food. And then at night, she'd move her car to a new location, hoping that the staff wouldn't realize she was living in the parking lot. And when an associate store manager, her name was Jackie Vandal, heard that she mentioned her goal of working at the store one day, she told her about an upcoming job fair. So she was actually quite impressed with Lashenda's can-do and upbeat people skills. So she made sure she made the cut from candidate to new hire, and she helped with her application and even tweaking her resume for her. And it only took her a month to get her first promotion from part-time cashier to full-time checkout associate. And then soon after, she was actually able to afford a new place to live. And as it turned out, it was the very first apartment she'd ever had with her name on the lease, which is so cool. So there was this Kroger customer, his name, he goes by VL, and he learned that his favorite sales associate was getting her first place, but didn't have anything to furnish it with. So he looked to social media for help, of course. Love social media for these things. And he says, she's always trying to help someone, always trying to be a light in a world that may seem very dark. So his post to this East Nashville Facebook group got more than 200 responses. There was furniture, small appliances, just about anything you need to furnish a home, just all started pouring in. And she says, you don't know how good this feels. I've been through a lot. Thank you. This means the world to me. So thanks to this life-altering chain of events that started in this Kroger parking lot, she is now considers her coworkers and her customers, and she calls them her family. And she says, when I was hungry, they fed me. When I needed a pair of gloves, they gave it to me. These workers that I work with, they are my family. The feeling is more than mutual. The manager said, I wish we had 120 of her. Such a cool story. There's actually a full video of it if you want to search it up online. It says A Chance to Shine, a woman's journey from hunger to hope. And it's a really cool video. It gives a little bit more about her story and just how she was sleeping in the parking lot and now she's a full-time employee and loves it so much. Is doing so much better. So my next story for you is about the fashion industry and the waste problem of the fashion industry. So fabric cuttings and textile leftovers are a difficult class of the waste to recycle. So the fashion industry has a waste problem, and this nonprofit organization is trying to help solve it. So Fab Scrap, it's called, runs an internet store and a physical location that's part secondhand shop, part recycling facility based around fashion industry waste collection from top brands like J. Crew, Macy's, Nautica, all these things. So Jessica Schreiber, the founder of Fab Scrap, discovered while working at a New York City's Bureau of Recycling and Sustainability, she says that many of the city's iconic fashion industry names were ringing her office asking what to do with textile waste. So being that NYC law requires the recycling of any material if it amounts to more than 10% commercial waste, she realized that the problem represented an unfilled niche that would make a great business model. So she pitched her idea to Project Runway fashion startup and was awarded seed money for her vision of a company that would pick up textile waste from fashion houses and find ways to reuse or recycle it. So accumulating about 20 clients in her first year, she now manages the waste of 434 different brands, and her work has seen 600,000 pounds of textiles and fabric that's spared from entering New York City's landfill network, with each pound saved representing around 2.06 pounds of CO2. So the cutting room floor of a fashion brand studio is a messy place, of course, and the bags of a waste Fab Scrap collects weekly must be stored by hand. So there's been over 2,000 volunteers that have helped out with this process in the warehouse. And they're separating the textiles by fiber, from cotton to wool and more. And the people at Fab Scrap will weigh and document each bag. And then the organization sells the fabric by pound on their website and out of their retail headquarters in Brooklyn. And then ships the unsellable waste to be recycled and turned into stuffing for furniture or insulation for things like moving blankets. So according to the Environmental Protection Agency, textile and fabric represent 5% of total landfill space, and a life cycle analysis found that fabrics for all purposes account for 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, most of which is methane, so a GHG that is 28 times more powerful than CO2. So the dyes and other chemicals used to treat clothing can contaminate groundwater sources as well. And so New York City has very progressive recycling laws on the books for fabric and textiles. But these laws are difficult to track or enforce since private companies haul away the trash and the waste of buildings tend to get mixed together. So for fashion brands that value sustainability over other corporate goals, the Fab Scrap represents the ultimate partner, and she has made several close connections with brands focused on reducing waste. So she says, I think opening in LA gives us a really good blueprint for how we might be able to franchise this to other major cities as well. So I guess stay tuned for one of these in your cities. This is such a cool concept. I never thought about all the fashion industry waste, but it's so true. So, and over 2,000 volunteers. I think that's so cool. All right, now I thought I would finish off today's episode with a study that was just put out on, basically it's 10 science-backed tips for a better night's sleep. Okay, so stressful times call for stressful measures, as we all know, and one of the most important ways to improve your ability to resist stress and anxiety is to make sure that you're getting a good night's sleep. So, in our, crazy 24-hour interconnected world, sleep is necessary, but it can be very difficult to get, especially when you have a very busy schedule and just all these crazy things going on. So, there are these 10 tips of how you can get a better night's sleep. Number 1 is keep your room like outer space, cold and dark. 2 is clean up your room, because all kinds of strange things can affect sleep performance, so including your clutter. Avoid blue light, so avoiding your screens or using those blue light glasses if you have to, but avoiding your screens like 2 hours before bed can help immensely. Find your extra special mattress. Spend part of your day like a hunter-gatherer. So melatonin, the hormone that's secreted from the pineal gland that signals cells to enter sleep mode, is increased with several different activities. So daylight exposure, physical exercise, and a day totally void of naps will definitely help further your good night's sleep and produce that melatonin. Number 6 is take note of your coffee consumption. 7 is stick to a sleep schedule. Ignore your text tones. Make your bedroom the most quiet room in the house. And then number 10 is take supplements if you absolutely need to as well. So taking some supplements like some sleep aids can help you have a better night's sleep. So I thought I would round off today's episode with that. Thank you so much for listening to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. There are new episodes out on Mondays and Thursdays with me. Don't forget to head over to our social media pages, like and follow, and leave a 5-star review. I look forward to sharing more positive, feel-good stories with you next time. Stay happy, stay positive, and spread kindness every single chance that you get.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.